Today we're going to read Franny K. Stein, Mad Scientist, The Invisible Fran, Chapter 1 to Chapter 6. Chapter 1. Franny's House. The Stein family lived in a pretty pink house with lovely purple shutters down at the end of Daffodil Street. Everything about the house was bright and cheery. Everything, that is, except the upstairs bedroom with the tiny round window. The window looked in on the bedroom, yes, but it was also a window into a laboratory, Franny's laboratory. And Franny's laboratory was spectacular. She had all the things you would expect any mad scientist to have. She had an electron microscope. She had a nuclear-powered brain amplifier. She had a giant, flesh-eating koala. And she had a few extras, a few special things that Franny made that her lamp was... And she had a few extras, a few special things that made Franny feel that her lamp was just a bit better than average. Franny debated it, then other mad scientists had a spider enlarger or disease simulator. I'll bet no more than half of them had an eyeball removing machine, she said, thinking how fortunate she was that could pull her own eye out. But even if they didn't have eyeball-removing machines or brain amplifiers or spider enlargers, Franny suspected that her friends, if given the chance, would love nothing more than to set up labs of their own and devote themselves to the pursuit of mad science. It was this very reason that her teacher's next assignment inspired Franny to help her classmates see the light. Chapter 2. Hobby Day. Miss Shelley stood in front of the class. We're going to talk about hobbies. Tomorrow, I'd like each of you to bring in something that represents your hobby or interest. Surely, thought Franny, many of them don't even have hobbies or interests. And even if they do, they're probably the kind of dull hobbies that hardly ever explode or eat the neighbor's car. Franny raised her hand. Miss Shelley, if somebody has a hobby that doesn't involve massive amounts of electricity or sewing wings onto things that weren't born with wings, will they still be allowed to participate? Miss Shelley was accustomed to this sort of question from Franny. Yes, Franny, everybody will get to talk about their hobbies, Miss Shelley said. Miss Shelley was always fair, but it seemed like a waste of time to Franny, who was absolutely certain that after a little exposure to mad science, the kids would drop their other interests like hot potatoes, hot, radioactive, poisonous potatoes. Chapter 3. Back at the lab. Franny thought what her presentation would be. Fortunately, Franny had an assistant to help her with things like this. Igor was Franny's dog and lab assistant. He wasn't a pure lab. He was also part poodle, part chihuahua, part beagle, part spaniel, part shepherd, and part some kind of weaselly thing that wasn't even exactly a dog. Franny had told Igor about Miss Shelley's assignment, and he was doing his best to make suggestions. He reminded her of the time she had brought a garden gnome to life, and they had to stay locked in the bathroom until the police came. Igor thought the kids would like that. I don't want to take in a garden gnome, she said. She reminded her of the time she had increased the vacuum cleaner's power and it sucked her little brother inside out. Mom made me promise never to do that again, she said. She reminded her of the time she had engineered a cannibalistic hot dog that actually ate itself. That was pretty good, Franny said. But there's a kid in my class that always smells like hot dogs, and I don't want that thing going after him. Besides, it needs to be something that everybody can relate to. Franny walked over and looked at the dozens of devices she had recently invented. Like this, Igor. She picked up her toenail fungus translator. You know, deep down inside, all kids want to communicate with toenail fungi, but they never been able to. Well, with this device, they finally can. She's put it in her backpack. All the kids will love talking to fungus. I mean, come on, deep down inside, we're all mad scientists, right? Chapter 4. Oh no, we're not. Miss Shelley looked around the room. Everybody was ready to talk about his or her hobbies. She pointed at Erin. Erin, would you like to go first? Erin jumped to her feet and started a tap player. As the music began, she performed a classic foot-stomping Irish dance. The student clapped. Franny raised her hand. So, Erin, about these shoes of yours, have you ever consulted sampling a sample of mutant kangaroo DNA? It might make you bounce around in an even more uncontrolled manner. Erin looked at Franny for a moment. My dancing is just fine, thank you, she said, and took her seat. Next, Miss Shelley invited Lawrence to the front of the class. He poured an accordion from a big black case and played for a minute or two before Franny raised her hand. Now this is much better. I'm certain that you can upgrade the keys in different ways to increase or decrease the amount of pain we're experiencing in our ear regions. My question for you is this. Have you ever thought of making a larger version that you could attach to a satellite and use the broadcast the effect over a larger area? Lawrence put the instrument back in the case. It's just an accordion, Franny, he said. I've been playing since I was a little kid. Next up was Pill. Miss Shelley held a large book open for him while he pointed at the various prize stamps from his collection. This stamp is from England, he said, and this one is from Japan. Franny raised her hand. I don't suppose you consider alerting these stamps so they explode when people lick them, have you? Pill shook his head. No. Or doing something like transforming a postal carrier into, I don't know, a 9-foot-tall scorpion man who spews acid from his stinger and can fly, for instance? Miss Shelley closed the book. Franny, Pill prefers regular, non-exploding, non-transforming postage stamps. Hold on, Franny said. Just hold on 1 second. She walked to the front of the class. Do you mean to tell me that none of you is the least bit interested of being a mad scientist? Chapter 5. Franny tosses her cookies. Igor sat patiently and listened to Franny. Not one, she said, dropping the toenail fungus translator on the floor. In my whole class, not one other kid has even thought about conducting an experiment. Dancing, yes. Collecting, yes. Athletics, yes. But math science, no. Franny consulted around as she checked the progress of her various experiments. One kid had a terrarium with a chameleon, but get this, he doesn't do any experiments with it. Igor wasn't crazy about chameleons since the first time Franny's giant chameleon had tried to swallow him. But he shook his head and tried to appear though he agreed as Franny. I asked Miss Shelley if I could put off doing my presentation until tomorrow, after Billy Trader's hobby, which is making pretty cookies. My heart just wasn't in it. Pretty cookies. I mean, seriously, Igor, that has to be the dumbest hobby of all. Imagine doing all of that measuring and mixing and waiting just for pretty cookies. Look, he even brought some in for everyone. Franny tossed her pretty cookies in the air and shot a sizzling death ray through them. These kids are so misguided, Igor. They don't know what they're missing. Their interests are absolutely useless. Maybe nobody has ever really shown them why mad science is really the only hobby on Earth. Franny stopped and grinned boldly. That's it, Igor. It's up to me to show them where they went wrong. I can show them why they could be interested in. And I can see it's going to take more than a toenail fungus translator. That's the end of this channel. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. Bye!